So the European Super League then has used a landmark court ruling to relaunch with a new format, but the UK government says it will block Premier League teams from signing up. Before we get into how this new revamped competition may work, Ray, obviously this news broke yesterday morning, and it led to the inevitable conversation of, well, what does this mean going forward? Will we see those breakaway Premier League clubs that initially had agreed to join the ESL back in 2021, would they once again want to align themselves with it? A lot of them have put out statements to distance themselves from it. We're still waiting from Arsenal and Liverpool. They're the only two that haven't said anything. But in terms of a Super League, I know we talked about it a little bit earlier on, but for those just tuning in, does it worry you, the idea of a Super League?
Well, obviously financially, for lots of clubs, they're always trying to make more money as a revenue. But I just don't see it for the British clubs. I really don't. I just can't see it working. I can see why Barcelona and Real Madrid want to do it because, as I said before, I think the Premier League is worldwide the biggest league in the world. It's most watched, I'm sure of that. And I'd rather watch, say Liverpool playing Crystal Palace. I think there's a lot more to offer than watching Real Madrid playing Real Sociedad or someone like that.
Yeah.
So that's why it's the league itself. Why change it? But I'm hoping Arsenal come out and Liverpool come out with statements and say, look, we're not interested.
Does it surprise you that they haven't?
A little bit. Yeah, maybe they will do. I'm sure they will. Probably they'll be asked a question, I'm sure, today, or when the managers, certainly when they do the press conferences, and I'm sure they'll be steering clear of it and worrying about the games they've got in front of them. But it's always going to be in the back burner sort of thing. And I'm just hoping, again, listen to the fans. The fans told you before they didn't want it to happen. And as I said before, everybody gets excited. I'm absolutely gutted at the moment when, I'm not being rude, but when the international break, because the Premier League doesn't. I really miss it. I really do. And I think most people up and down the country do as well. So I love England in a big tournament and I really want them to do well. But the qualifying bit, and it's never been a problem for England or getting through. So, and I miss the Premier League. So that just shows you that something's working in England and, why change it?
Well, let's get a bit more then on, as we mentioned, the new sort of format of what this European Super League could look like, because it was sort of proposed yesterday. And joining us for more on this, it's our chief football correspondent, Alex Crook. Alex, good morning.
Morning, Alex.
No doubt you've had a busy 24 hours. I sort of looked over this briefly and I know they're trying to add more teams into this European Super League. I mean, the fact that they're calling it Star, Gold and Blue Leagues already puts me off. But tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, good morning. Happy Friday. It was certainly an interesting day yesterday, more interesting than perhaps I envisaged. I was surprised by the court judgment, and obviously A22, with a PR company behind this supposed new European Super League, they reacted very quickly. They put out a presentation, which wasn't brilliant, to be honest, but Bernd Reichart, the chief executive of A22, was speaking. The big sales pitch seemed to be that all Super League matches would be available free to air by a specialised 24-hour streaming channel. He said he was putting the fans first because too many fans are being priced out of watching European football. He basically said there were too many dead rubbers in the Champions League under its current format. But as you say, that the names of the three divisions that they're planning weren't particularly appealing to me. And then having sat in on a conference call with Alexander Seferin, UEFA were pretty emboldened, I think, by the court verdict. They saw it as a positive that maybe they need to look at a reform in the way that European football is governed. They said they've done that already. And the best quote was that he said that A22 had seen a shiny present under the Christmas tree, unwrapped it quickly, and then found there wasn't much there. And I think he's bang on, because you look at the clubs who have ruled themselves out, many from the Premier League, Borussia Dortmund, Bayern Munich, Paris Saint-Germain, all of the big Spanish clubs, barring Barcelona and Real Madrid, who seem to be the real driving force behind this. You can't have a European Super League without those clubs. You can't have it without the Premier League, because let's be honest, as Ray's already said, that this is the best league in the world. This is the most watched league in the world, which is why Barcelona and Real Madrid are trying to get a piece of the pie. So having started the day maybe a little bit concerned that the European Super League had been revived, I still think it's dead in the water, to be honest. It's a complete non-starter for me.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Alex. I'm hoping that Arsenal and Liverpool come out with a statement saying, look, we don't want to get involved in it as well. And as you mentioned there, some of the big clubs who have pulled out already, it just shows you that they're happy how it's all going with their countries as well. And as I said before, Barcelona and Real Madrid, they're looking at the revenue the Premier clubs are bringing in, and they want to be part of that because they're not getting it in La Liga. And as I said before, it's going downhill probably in La Liga. They rely on the Champions League only. So that's why change it if you're an English club? It's so exciting. Every single week is so exciting in the Premier League. And as I said before, everybody watches it around the world.
Did just when you were listening into that Alexander Ceferin news conference, was there any talk about, because they're obviously going to change the Champions League format, have they talked about get further down the line, will they have to try and change things once again to just ward off any further talk of the European Super League?
Well, I think you have to evolve all of the time, don't you? You have to evolve to make your product attractive, to fans all around the world. And I spoke to somebody fairly senior at a Premier League club, and they suggested to me that any changes to European competition would have to be done under the UEFA banner. I think they had their fingers burnt, those Premier League clubs, a couple of years ago when fans, even in COVID hit times, took to the streets to protest and basically fan power quelled the European Super League and also accelerated this government regulator. And they've got a part to play as well. They came out, the government, with a pretty strongly worded statement saying that any English club basically that did take part in a breakaway competition would effectively be thrown out of British football. So I think all these clubs are aware from a PR perspective they handled it so appallingly. Those 6 Premier League clubs who signed up to the Super League last time around, they would be very reticent to do it again. And you have to ask the question as well, and money makes the world go round. Money certainly makes the football world go round. If they're promising the European Super League free-to-air matches, where's the revenue stream coming from? Yeah. Who's going to pay the money that they get from competing in current UEFA competitions? It all seems very fanciful to me. To be honest, the presentation that I watched from A22 looked like it had been put together by a 5-year-old.
Hence the star, gold and blue leagues.
Yeah, how did they get the blue bit?
It's just blue. Well, star as well. How is star? I mean, I just don't get it.
It's got a big silver in it, blue.
Well, you got surely got platinum, diamond. I don't know. There's better names than star, gold, and blue. But anyway, Alex, thank you. Great to have you with us and updating us on the latest situation. We, as I say, are waiting if there will be statements from Arsenal and Liverpool to go along with City, United, Chelsea, and Spurs. I mean, the only thing that's a bit annoying, and don't get me wrong, I'm sure all these managers will be asked questions about it anyway.
Definitely, yeah.
But when you don't put a statement out, that only means Arteta and Klopp are just going to have to field it.
Yeah, more under pressure to answer the question.
Yeah,
if they do a statement straight away, they don't probably even get asked a question, do they?
Exactly that. So maybe they'll do it sooner rather than later, and then it puts it to bed before those pre-match conferences.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.